welcome back to my channel. Let me just take this time to say a very big thank you to everyone who has subscribed, liked, and shared this video. I'm so happy. This is legit my second video. Okay, we'll go right into it. So what if I told you that unrequited love was sexy? What if I told you that loving someone who didn't love you back was actually not a bad thing? What if I told you that wanting someone who didn't want you back isn't actually wrong in the sense of it? You see, because we have been taught to believe that when you love someone who doesn't love you back, it's a big crime and it's all shades of wrong. I, for one, can attest to that. You know, when I was trying to let go of a serious relationship that I was into because of one reason or the other, I started to listen to some videos from my mentors. And from one of them, I heard them say, to love someone who doesn't love you back is wrong. And I actually believed it. So the next thing that happens is that you start to fight the feeling itself, you know, and you sometimes you generate this anger towards this person, or even if you don't generate the anger, you just try to kill the feeling altogether, and that's your way of moving on or letting go. But what if I tell you that you didn't, or you don't have to stop loving someone to start liking yourself? You don't have to start hating someone in order to start loving yourself. Yeah, I know. The reaction on your face right now, or the ideas coming up in your head, is very similar to the ones that came into my head when I realized it. You see, unrequited love, or loving someone who doesn't love you back, or loving someone, or wanting someone who stopped wanting you the same way, isn't wrong in itself. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you because God is the master of unrequited love. You see, every day he's continuing to love people who don't love him. You know, there are millions of people out there, and even those who will give you legit reasons why God doesn't exist. They call them the atheists, and God's still loving them. It doesn't stop him from loving them. It doesn't stop him from wanting them to be close to him. It doesn't stop him, you know, from needing them to want to be a part of his life and share a relationship with him. So loving someone who stopped loving you, or who stopped wanting to be in a relationship with you, is not a bad thing in itself, because God himself is the master of unrequited love. However, where there is a place for love, there is a place for what we call free will. The ability to love is in us as much as the ability to choose. And this was shown very clearly in the Garden of Eden, where God put the apple, left the apple in the garden and gave strict orders for it not to be eaten. You know, I've asked myself the same question, and people have also asked, and they said, if God knew, since God is the all-knowing God, and he knew that they would eat this fruit, why leave it in the garden? You know, and it made me realize that most of the decisions that God made, he made because he wanted us to know who he is and how he works, and in the same vein, know who we are. So God was trying to demonstrate that he is a God of free will. He respects free will. So he was trying to say that whilst I can force some things out of your hand and remove them from your options, I will not. I won't try to force it or influence it. I will do the best that I can, and then I would leave for you the ability to choose. That's what God was basically trying to say there. In other words, God respects free will. In fact, free will is the second single thing that God respects. First is his word. He said, I value my word more than my name. And then free will, God respects free will. That is why we're out there every day doing what we want, even though God is not happy with it, you know, but he's out there still wanting us and still loving us. There is no moment where God stops loving you. So even though you still want this person, or you still love this person, you have to understand that there is a place for free will. You have to understand that the decision for this person to be in your life, to be in or out of your life, is entirely theirs. They have to come to those terms on their own. You know, they have to come to terms with being in a relationship with you or not being in a relationship with you on their own. Free will is a character that God put in us there intentionally. You see, when God made Adam, there was no Eve yet, you know, and God needed man to be able to make decisions for himself, by himself, you know, without questioning or second guessing, without any form of influence. I mean, it wasn't like Adam could look to the animals and say, hey, what do you think? No. So God put in that free will and that ability to choose in man. You know, and that is why we have it in us, right? So even though you want this person and you love them and you want them to be in your life, They have to make that decision on their own. Whether it's right or whether it's wrong is completely inconsequential. But there is a character that has been put into them to want to decide for themselves, by themselves. And you see, sometimes it's not about whether they're right or they're wrong. I don't know about you, but I've had situations many times where someone would want to be in my life and they're doing everything right, but for some reason I just didn't click with them. You know what I'm saying? And I just, didn't get into that relationship the way that they wanted me to. And it wasn't like they were not good for me. It wasn't like they were not doing the things that a woman would want from a man or a partner or a friendship or a business relationship or whatever. For some reason, I exercise my free will and my ability to choose, and I'm like, no. In that same vein, you have to accept that people will come to these choices on their own. You cannot fight biology. You cannot fight a character that God has put in people. Listen, if God respects free will, then you have to, because biology will always win. Creation will always win. Trying to fight against creation is as good as fighting against God, and it's just not going to work. It's going to bounce back on you. Okay, let's take a good look at the story of the prodigal son. So the son comes and says, Dad, I need my money and I want to go. Understand that the fact that your father has something doesn't mean that it's yours. It's by authority of your father or your mother that it becomes yours. That's why sometimes when people's name are not into a will, whether you're the father, whether you're the son, the child, the cousin, whatever, if your name is not written in that will, you're not getting anything. So by authority from the father or the mother or the parent, whatever they have becomes yours. Now here was the prodigal son coming and saying, I want this, like it was his. You see, and the father, being a father, it was a parable, but the father in the parable would have known that, that this boy is making the wrong decision. However, he also knew that there is a place for free will, a character of free will. And if the son had come to terms with the fact that he wanted to leave alone and be with his inheritance alone, then he just had to respect that. He didn't say, no, I'm going to withhold the money. He didn't say, no, I'm going to stop your business. I'm going to stop your flow like some parents do. If you don't do what I want, I'm going to, make sure that you don't leave happy or you don't get what you want and all of that. But he didn't do that. He let him go. He didn't even stop loving him. And that showed when the prodigal son came back. And he said, throw a feast. My son is home. So he let go of the anger. He let go of anything and he let his son go. However, the son on his own came to terms with the fact that he was wrong in the first place for leaving his father, and instead of trying to do this alone, he needed to come back to the father. Now this was a parable and it could have gone either ways. The son could have never come back. The son could have just, I don't know, been where he was and still be stubborn and get into the wrong hands and go mix with the wrong people. But after a while he decided to come back. Now I'm trying to tell you two things from this story. The first one is love. In that story, we saw love. Love was the father, giving him what he wanted, even though he knew the son was wrong, and allowing him to go. And when he came back, was accepting him with free hands, regardless of what the son had done and that he squandered his money and anything. Now, also in that story, there was the place for free will. You see, the father could have held on and dragged and forced, but he didn't. Did that mean that he didn't love him anymore? No. Did that mean that he stopped loving his son? No way. But what happened was that he understood the place for free will. So as much as you love this person, as much as you want them to be in your life, there is a free will, an ability to choose. They have to come to terms with being with you or not on their own. Now get this. They might come to terms with it later, like the prodigal son, or they might never. Either ways, you only have authority over your own life and your own decisions, right? And you have to use that power to bring yourself to a place of peace and purpose, where you understand that your peace of mind is more important than anybody else, where you understand that this person is going to come to terms with being in my life, or they are never going to do that, and that's enough. And when you come, and purpose is saying that my place on this earth and my path on this earth is not tied to anybody in particular. You understand that? Okay, sorry, I know it looks like I'm sweating. I don't want to turn the fan because I don't want to mess with the noise. Okay, so let's just focus here. So, that's what you need to understand. A place of peace and a place of purpose. So, they will come to those terms, or they are not going to come to those terms. Either way, you just like the father to the prodigal son, has to concentrate more on your own authority and what you have. The prodigal father didn't start to hijack him and pull him. He focused. He had his own life. He was royalty. He had his son, and he focused on that. And he was ready. When the son came, oh yeah, throw feast for my son. Now, not all prodigal, people, be it son, child, partner, spouse, are gonna come back. Either way, you need to understand that you cannot force these things, because just like there's a place for love and the love that you feel, there is a place for free will. It is deeply rooted in all of us to want to choose for ourselves and choose by ourselves. The fact that a relationship does not go the way you want does not mean that, oh, this person has to be a monster. I hate him now. Every breakup does not have to give birth to a new enemy. That's not how it works. Love never came with any kind of guarantees like, oh, this person is gonna love you back all the time, or this person is gonna want you all the time. Love is only saying that it's going to be there regardless, right? So it's that attitude of thinking that because it's not reciprocated, it was wrong in the first place, and that's why we get people that are angry and annoyed all the time. Just always see it this way. There is a place for love and there is a place for self-will. Every one of us have been there before. I know I have. And it's not easy. People make it look like it's easy. Oh yeah, if he's not doing this or if she's not doing that, that means they don't want you. You have to do this. Oh yeah, it's time to go. Yeah, you deserve better. You want, and then sometimes people ask, okay, I deserve better. Why can this person be the better? You know what I'm saying? Because it's not always easy to turn off our feelings and turn off our emotions. And it's not even always wrong. Sometimes people are in a place in their lives where they're not ready for you. And even when they're ready, sometimes, I don't know, things happen. It's different from a relationship that just started toxic and relationship that had no business starting up in the first place. That's different than a relationship that looked like it was going somewhere. And, there was a deep connection and things were forming. And this was someone that was good. And suddenly time, family, distance, whatever just came in. And the relationship just wasn't the way it was. It just stopped being the way it was. And now one person is saying, I want to go, or sometimes they don't say it. They're showing you that they want to go, and you don't want them to go because you're still hooked onto them. Listen, people, it is not wrong that you still want them, and for some reason they don't want you. It is not wrong that you still love them, and for some reason they don't love you anymore. God is the master of unrequited love, and it can never be wrong. Love is right anyhow, whether it's reciprocated or not. Love is right. But listen to me, there is a place for free will, and free will is in character of every human being. It's right there. So the decision for this girl, this boy, this man, this woman, this boss, or whoever to be in your life, to partner with you or do whatever it is you want, has to be entirely theirs. They must come to that realization on their own. They must. You trying to force them and you trying to tamper with their free will is not only an injustice to yourself, it's an injustice to them. No wonder someone comes to you and says red tie or blue tie. You tell them red tie and they still wear blue tie. And sometimes you tell them red tie and they go with red tie. It wasn't because you said it. It was because they already came to those terms on their own. So sometimes their decisions will match yours and sometimes it won't. Sometimes your decision will match theirs and sometimes it won't. Listen to me. The acceptance of free will, or the acceptance of choice, is not only about you knowing that, yeah, I get to choose what I want and it's in my hand. It's also in accepting that people get to choose to. Whether it's wrong or whether it's right, it's theirs. It's biology, and biology will always win. It's creation. It's innate. So don't try to physically or spiritually force or command these things, or you're not going to get the best out of them. You see, the only way you can get the best out of anybody is when they're operating at a place of free will. God knew this. God knows this. And that's why he's not forcing anyone to do anything. So if you're in a situation in your life and you're just like, no, I can't do this anymore, I want God in my life, that's it. That's it. And that's how it is in our relationships. That's how it is with our business partners. That's how it is in life. I love him, I love her, I want him, I want her, I want them, I love them, but they don't want you anymore, or they don't want to be in that space, or they want to take a break, or whatever the situation may be, people. Your love is not wrong. But where there's a place for love, there's a place for free will. So I want you to picture whomever that person is, or whomever they are, and just accept where you are right now. Just say, I love you and I want you, but the decision for you to be in my life or not is entirely yours. And you have to come to those terms on your own. And you're going to come to the terms, or you're never going to come to those terms. It's up to you. I have authority over my decisions and my life only. And I'm going to take that power and bring myself to a place of peace and purpose, because my peace of mind is worth anything else. You know, I am not going to try to fight or struggle with free will. That's a lost battle. And it's a character that has existed since the time of Adam. So I'm gonna let you to do what you want, and I come out to a place of peace you know. Maybe when you come to terms with it, I'm living happy with some other business partner or somebody else, or maybe I'm not, or maybe later we come to a place where we want to try this again. But right now, you have to come to those terms on your own. And you use that authority to also bring yourself to a place of purpose, which states that my path here on earth, my work here on earth is not tied to one single person. It is not. Being a wife, being a mother, being a husband, being a father, being a business tycoon, being a blessed person, moving far in life, having everything you want to have in life is not tied to that one person. Listen to me. Anyone who's tied to a particular stage of your life is going to continue with you on that stage. They're not going to go. So when someone wakes up and they come to the terms with the fact that they want to be out of your life, then they are not supposed to be in that position in your life, you know. So you have only authority over your own self, and you need to use that power, baby girl, guys, ladies, madams, and bring yourself to that place of peace and purpose, you know. So that's what I have for you today. Okay, I love him, I love her, I love them, I want them, but they don't love me or they don't want me anymore. That's fine. I'm not going to try to struggle with free will, because where there's a place for love, there is a place for free will, and they have to come to terms with being with me on their own. Like the prodigal son, they might come to terms later, or they might not, but that is their own choice, and that's their own cross to bear, and this is mine. My purpose, my destiny on earth is certainly not tied to them. So I don't have to hate the love that I feel. I don't have to try to punish the love that I feel, because unrequited love is not wrong in the sense of it. Okay, that's what I have for you today. So if you're struggling and you don't know how to live that relationship or have that clean break, here it is right here. You can go back and rewatch this message, and you know that there is a character of free will that has been placed in every human being, and it will always win. So don't try to push it. Don't try to struggle with it. No, they're going to come to those terms on their own, or they may never do that, but it's up to them, and you use your power to bring yourself to a place of peace and purpose. Thank you so much for listening to me today. I am so happy, so happy. Don't forget to subscribe if you're just tuning in. Like the video and share it. Somebody somewhere and they just needing to hear this message. Okay, thank you so much. Till I meet you again next time with another trigger video. Remember, wherever you are, all you need is a trigger. So when you're in a tight spot, just remember, I have to go, you know, and check out a trigger video. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. I love you all.